The third hand is one of the productivity improvement features of the Qwik-LOK, but what is it and how does it work? The third hand is located underneath the cover plate and connected to the end of the slider assembly by means of a spring. And the grub screw can be engaged or disengaged using an Allen key. One of the functions of the third hand is to prevent the slider assembly from floating when in the unclamped state. The spring load of the jaw mounting system does create some resistance to movement, but it's much easier to change jaws when the slider assembly is locked in place firmly. The third hand also performs another function. It determines how the jaws open and close. To demonstrate, we will close this Qwik-LOK all the way and then open it up just far enough that both the components fit into the pockets within the machine jaws. This will position the third hand in the forward position. As you can see, with the third hand set in the forward position, all it takes is a half a turn of the handle to release both components. This is ideal when the Qwik-LOK is in a horizontal orientation, for instance in a vertical machining center. The same applies in reverse. All it takes is a half a turn of the handle to clamp both workpieces at the same time. But what if your Qwik-LOK was in a vertical orientation, for instance in a horizontal machining center? For this demonstration, we're going to open the Qwik-LOK all the way, thereby setting the third hand at the rearmost position. Notice what happens when we clamp our workpieces. When we release the Qwik-LOK using only a half a turn of the handle, you'll notice that the workpiece in the rear position has been released, but the workpiece in the forward position is still clamped. Releasing this workpiece requires another half a turn of the handle. And the same applies when clamping workpieces. The practical application of this is easily demonstrated when unloading and loading this MultiLOK. Notice how I've released one component and then a second half turn of the handle allows the release of the second component. And the same applies when loading. I can clamp one workpiece with a half a turn of the handle and then load the second workpiece. This eliminates the need to have three hands when loading vertically. So the third hand performs two functions. It prevents float and assists with loading and unloading, but there are times where you may want to release the third hand. When removing jaws and configuring your Qwik-LOK for faceplates, it's necessary to position the slider assembly manually to line up with the faceplate. Simply back off the third hand screw and the slider assembly can be manually positioned to align with the faceplate. This is only necessary when configuring your Qwik-LOK to go from jaws to faceplates. Once you've clamped a faceplate, everything will automatically align and no further adjustment is necessary. So 2 turns of the handle is all that is required to change from one faceplate to another. When going from faceplates back to jaws, it's generally not necessary to readjust the position of the third hand. So in summary, the third hand prevents undesirable float of the jaws when your Qwik-LOK is in the unclamped state and makes loading quicker and easier.